Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing today? Sorry I haven't been on in a couple days. Well, yeah, since Friday or Thursday of last week, haven't been on, but that's okay. We're on here now. So again, thanks for tuning in. We're going to get started here in just a little bit. We did get on here, obviously, a little bit later than usual, so we kind of have to speed through some things. Lost one, good morning. I'm sure we'll have a few more people showing up here in just a sec. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Josh. Interesting. All right, cool. So we'll get into sharing the screen here because we don't have too much time. There's a couple things I want to touch on as well. All right, cool. Yeah, it seems like a long time. But really it's only been like a couple days. But in other words, I think we'll touch on Roku. I know I've been really beating on Roku for so many days. You guys are probably like, enough with the Roku, but I still want to touch on that. Maybe we'll briefly look at Ulta. Briefly look at the stock Vive. What else? Apple we can talk about. Apple's been moved pretty well yesterday. It may be even MU. And then we'll kind of jump through those pretty quickly. And then if there's anything you guys want to talk about afterwards, we'll knock it out. All right, cool. All right, let's run into it. And I'm sorry if I do that. I don't mean to, but it just is what it is. All right, so here we go. Let's get started. Garrett, I'm with you, but I want to be long on Roku, but I'm not yet. So we're going to take a look at I think the 5-day chart will do pretty well. So yesterday, if you look at Roku's trading day, yesterday was the first green day in, let's just look at the daily chart, it'll be easier. So Roku, that was the first green day in like the past 3 days or so. And it is starting to give kind of a bullish appearance. You have this midday dip that led to a really nice curl right in the middle of the day. And we're kind of hanging out pre-market. Earlier in the morning, you can see it kind of had a little bit of a push. If that would have kept going, that would have been nice. But either way, what we're seeing now is, a potential inverse head and shoulders formation starting from this day. If I can draw it out, I wish I had my drawing tools for my other thing, but I don't. So if we can draw this out a little bit. So we kind of have an inverse head and shoulders pattern sort of forming in here. All right, so if we can do something like this, then maybe back down, we would be forming kind of an inverse head and shoulders play. So that's a possible scenario that we see kind of coming in. So we're starting to get some dip buys, right? And we've held. Look at this 98 level, right? We had the big drop here. We're holding that. We're holding here. We're holding here. And even I think we had that before there. Hold on. So we've been consistently holding the 98s, right? 98, 98, 98. So we're holding there pretty well, okay? The real question is whether or not we can kind of start breaking back up towards 107. And then the ultimate breakout will be here around 109, I believe. So, those would be the main levels to really watch for, right? So if we delete all these kind of resistances and supports, if you haven't done this already, your main levels to map out are going to be your support, which is right around 98, 99. An intermediate short-term resistance, which would be, call it 104, then 108, and then the big guy, which would be 110. Right? Because if you can start getting this, that's the thing, is if you can start getting over like the 110 area on Roku, then you're going to lead into this big down drop day. And that's it. When you have a big down dropping day like this, it doesn't create any sort of resistance. So you can have really nice green days once you start breaking into these days where it had a really nice down drop. So still watching Roku. The longer it takes, the less the bulls, the less patient the bulls become. Nice. I would love to, Ken. Absolutely. All right. So that's Roku. Now we'll touch on excuse me, what was the other one? So MU's okay. Apple, AAPL. So Apple did kind of like a pennant breakout yesterday. We traded it yesterday. I'm still long the stock right now with 50 shares. So I think we'll see Apple have a little bit of a green move initially today, but I don't see it really breaking over its previous top here of like 226. You can see that previous top from a couple weeks back at around 226. Again, I don't really see it breaking out of that today. It could, but usually they don't break out when they first test that top. They'll usually kind of hesitate, pull back for a day or two, then maybe reattempt it and then break. So I think we're going to see maybe an initial green push from the idea of it wanting to break, but it won't. So right now I'm sitting in with 50 shares. I'm up like maybe $200 or $160 from it from yesterday. So I'm going to hold on it, see if we do break up, but I might end up closing that trade out early morning when the bell opens. So yeah, I mean, if we look, 50 shares long, up a total of 156. From today, I'm up 70. Entered on these shares yesterday here, right there. Traded a few times, but entered right there and been holding since. So pretty decent trade. So Apple's one to watch for just like an early morning push. I don't see it going on a run like it did yesterday, but the run from yesterday will probably have a lot of attention on it today, and people will probably try and long it, I believe, and it'll cause a nice little push in the morning, but I don't think it's going to sustain very long. So we will talk about VIVE a little bit. Ken, CMG is, it's always been a hard one for me to wrap my head around Chipotle. So Chipotle has always been a hard one for me to wrap my head around because it's just like, it's like $800 for the stock, and all they do is make burritos. It's just like mind-blowing, right? Then again, and you look at Apple, it's like $200 and they make phones and laptops. But again, it all has to do with how many shares are available, and there's so much that goes into it that actually affects the actual valuation and price per share of a stock. But it's always interesting just to think a little burrito shop is crushing it with that. Anyways, you get the point. So next one we'll talk about is VIVE. So this is a penny stock that went through a reverse split recently. So it was like 8 cents, goes to $8. Definitely don't hold this, but it had a little bit of news. Anyways, it's an extremely low float stock. It's extremely low float, low outstanding shares. Had like a little piece of news today. Again, I most likely will not trade this. I just don't want to. But this is something that you may see some aggressive price action moves just because it is extremely low float and it's got low outstanding shares. And there probably is some people that were short bias the stock off of the reverse split. So you might have some people that you could still squeeze out to the long side that have been short. So VIVE, potential penny stock that might have some moves today. I'm not going to trade it. The formation pre-market isn't all that great anyways. But this is one that just could have like random moves. So it might be worth watching for some of you guys. Yeah, last year I had I think that was the longest green streak I had. I think it was 14 days. It might have been 15, but I think it was 14 days in a row I didn't lose. It was awesome. Well, Dalton, the only way you're getting 400% profit on a trade is if it's like a penny stock that rips like from $1 to like 5 or 6, you know? So in regards to that, or maybe you're just exaggerating, but well, this is what you got to realize. When it comes to a stock and the big, nice move that you're seeing or the one that you're looking for, so this is kind of how it works. Normally, you're going to have a stock and it'll move pretty nice. Here we go. Let's just look at Apple, right? Let's go back to Apple. So like yesterday was its monster day, right? It's kind of been bouncing around, breaks out. Yesterday, monster day. All right, so like the trade I have, it's going well. It's only 50 shares. I mean, still 50 shares on 220. That's a lot of money, but so it's 50 shares, good amount of money in, making some decent money, right? But when you look at the daily chart, you'll come to find that it's kind of coming close to some resistance. It wouldn't be a surprise if it doesn't break out today, and then it might hang out for another couple days where you then take your position off, and then it breaks out again. So normally you're going to have a situation where it's very similar to this, where it might run for like 1 or 2 days. That's your typical movement. You normally don't see stocks just like rip 4, 5, 6, 7 days in a row. They'll usually rip maybe 1 or 2, then they'll pull back, they'll consolidate, and then that's where you're going to start to kind of question whether or not you should take the trade off. Because as it's just starting to pull back or as it's just starting to consolidate, you haven't given back too much money on your trade yet. Right? So if you're up $500, then it starts to pull back. You might be up 400. You're like, well, I still have majority of the win. I'm not really giving back too much. But if it does go down more, then I'm going to only have $300. So then you start to guess if you should take it off, and then it'll consolidate for a couple days, and then it goes ripping again. Right? So that's normally what happens. So in a situation like Apple, I wouldn't be surprised if it kind of stops out here, and then we kind of hang out for a couple days, and then it might continue. So it's just understanding that how stocks will normally move. You have to be anticipating what's the more likely outcome. Oh, yeah, I guess you could. Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you're trading options. Yeah, exactly. Excuse me. All right, so that is a little spiel there. Let's get that out of the way. So we went over VIVE. Another one that I'll just briefly touch on would be MU. Excuse me. So MU, yesterday almost had like a crazy late day rip, and then it kind of crashed. So it's really in kind of like two places to look at. You could still try to be short bias. Ideally, the short will be below kind of the low point of 42.50. If it doesn't start breaking down 42.50s here and just stays within this range from 43.40 to 42.60.50. Yeah, so the way we look at it is pretty much if we can start getting over the highs from yesterday, that's going to be kind of like an intermediate breakout level off this earnings move. If we can stay in here and consolidate for a little bit, and then we start to get back below 42.50s, that's where you could look for like a short-term trade. But also be mindful of the fact the price action is right down near this previous dip. So this whole area in reality is a demand zone for the stock. So we're in it right now. So it's very possible that we could just start seeing some people start to buy in here, and then we go through a short-term bounce over the next week or so. So do keep that in mind. And that's why I said if there is a little bit of a short play to make between these lows, it might just push down briefly on the day, whatever day that it does break down, and then it gets sucked back up because you could be looking at a short move right into support, and then people buy it back up, and then it goes on a move. Right? How many times have you shorted below a support? There's a move, but then it quickly comes back up and turns into a bullish day. Stockboy, I have traded options. Yes, I occasionally trade options. Normally, most of the time, if I'm going to trade an option, I'll usually be trading an option on a stock that I can't short shares, and it's a hard to borrow stock, so I'm left to only short the stock by the means of buying a put or something. That's when I'll normally do it these days. Nothing against options trading. It's just not my go-to, but I can do it, and I do know a fair amount about options. I'm not an expert in options by any means. I'm still not even a full-on expert in the stock market. I just know a lot, right? But the market in general is just so big. There's so many different approaches, and there's so many different things that you can learn that I wholeheartedly feel that no one can fully be like an expert in all areas of the market. It's just too big. Yeah, Ulta. So yeah, we could touch on Ulta. Ulta worked well. I ended up day trading it one day and made a couple $100. That was about it. And again, that's primarily, why is it all, oh, you know what? I think I understand why it's doing it so weird. Hold on. Settings. Give me a second here. Never mind. I don't know what I did, but anyways. Yeah, so Ulta's working pretty well, right? So that was a pretty nice call. That's actually probably something to watch a little bit long bias today too. Let's check the daily chart, see where that's at. Yeah, so the daily chart should be pressing right up on the initial gap candle resistance at about 254, 252. Yeah, so 254 is going to be the start of the gap candle. That can be the resistance, and it can also be a nice kind of push to start entering the gap fill. So I think it's worth watching. Oh, there's thousands of people that trade. So ways that you can identify kind of like, bottoming action. So for one, look for, I can show it to you right now. You'll see the change. Ready? So we move down. So from here to here, let me get my trend line. Ready? Watch Ulta. Trend down. So, new low, lower low. Trend down. Kind of trend down, push up, trend up. So you can see the change there. So low point, new low, stagnant, sideways, squeeze up, higher low. All right. And then also another tip is to watch your RSI. You don't have to, but it's a good one. Ready? Look at the difference. Price action moving down, down, down. So you have price action going down, RSI going up. Price action going down, RSI going up, meaning the price action's going down and your momentum's picking to the upside, right? So it's hard for it to continue in the downwards direction while the momentum to the downside is slowing. You might be able to see a reversal, okay? AMTD. All right, I'll take a look at Netflix real quick because that's always my main. Netflix is questionable. Topped here at 270, basically 269. Bottom, higher lows into a top. It's kind of a cup, maybe a handle. Yeah, I mean, I would still watch it for a breakout today over the 269. That's what I would watch it for. If it doesn't break out, then it's probably, it'll just pull back, right? So If you want to be long bias, you look for a breakout over 269. If you want to be short bias, then you look for it to push over 269, fail, and then go and turn into a short play. And if it does do that, it'll probably start breaking down towards like 263s in this area where this red dotted line is. Did Stitch Fix have their earnings report? Is that tomorrow? Looks like it'll be tomorrow or after hours. Actually, kind of has like a decently bullish trend to it right now. Yeah, actually, that's not a bad play to be watch that long over 20. That's a decent play. But usually the day of earnings, they always trade a little awkward. Anyhooser. All right, guys, I got to run. I got to get back to our private stream and private group here at 9. So everybody take care. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow for another trading day. Or, well, live stream, that is. So everybody take care. Have a green day.